You are listening to The Reference Desk, the Wacomico Library's podcast that connects you to your public library. Thank you for joining us for the Reference Desk podcast. This month, we're going to be talking about St. Patrick's Day. We recently celebrated St. Patrick's Day in the U.S., March 17th, and we would like to have a mini podcast on the origins of St. Patrick's Day, the short story of the life of St. Patrick, and ways we observe St. Patrick's Day both in Ireland and here today. May your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow, and may trouble avoid you wherever you go. An Irish toast. St. Patrick's Day has been celebrated in the U.S., first as a religious observance, and more recently, as a day of celebration of all things from the Emerald Isle. The day, March 17th, started as a Saint's Day with the Catholic Church in honor of St. Patrick, whose real name was Maewyn Succat. The name itself implies Welsh origins, but history records Maewyn as a noble-born man of Romano-Brythonic ancestry. This basically means he was born to an established Roman population that had colonized the British Isles at the time. According to legend, as a child, Maewyn, we'll call him Patrick from here on out, was captured and sold into slavery by a group of Irish marauders. He was enslaved for 6 years on Ireland, working as a shepherd. Claiming to have heard an angel telling him to leave Ireland, Patrick walked nearly 200 miles from County Mayo to the Irish coast and escaped from Ireland. Upon his return to, and I assume it was Britain, Patrick once again heard the voice telling him to go back to Ireland, this time as a missionary. Feeling the need for an education, Patrick went to Gaul, in present-day France, and studied religion for over 15 years to become a priest. After this, he returned to Ireland, intent on converting the pagan population to Christianity. His knowledge of the language and culture, gained when he was there for 6 years as a slave, was integral to the success of his mission. Patrick was known for integrating the local pagan beliefs into the Catholic practice in Ireland, most notably the Celtic cross, still used in modern iconography and Irish artwork today. After 30 years, Patrick retired to County Down and passed away on March 17, 461 AD. And for that reason, after he was canonized, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on that day every year. Of course, the records of Patrick and his exploits in Ireland are biased, as they were written by his fellow clergymen. If there was any violence or coercion used to accomplish his goal of converting the populace, none of it was recorded. Perhaps for PR reasons? History will point out that Ireland was already well on its way to becoming quote-unquote Christianized well before Patrick arrived. Patrick is credited mostly with establishing monasteries and schools on the Isle, where the education in new religion could take place. The tale of his driving all the snakes out of the land likely is an analogy for eradicating the native paganism from the population. The shamrock tale associated with Patrick likely has some truth to it, though, using the native shamrock and its 3 leaves to explain the Holy Trinity to the Irish people. To this day, the shamrock and the green color of that plant is heavily used in traditions of St. Patrick's Day in both Ireland and here in the U.S. In Ireland, St. Patrick's Day is observed more in a religious sense, as the Catholic Church still holds a large amount of influence over the general population there. Here in the U.S., though, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated in a more secular fashion, pulling elements associated with Patrick and his time in Ireland and making the holiday our own. Classic America, right? There are parades, special foods, music, and storytelling. A certain city even goes so far as to dye a whole river green for the occasion. Ironically, the most iconic Irish food, corned beef and cabbage, was actually an American invention due to the poverty and discrimination faced by the Irish immigrants in the late 1800s. Made with a less expensive cut of meat, corned beef, paired with an equally inexpensive cabbage and potatoes made for a filling meal. Ironically, the potato blight in Ireland, along with the poor response from the English government, was responsible for a vast majority of the immigration of the Irish to the U.S. As this culinary masterpiece was associated with the Irish, particularly the Irish diaspora in New York City and Boston, corned beef and cabbage was taken up as a must-have meal to observe the American celebration of St. Patrick's Day. Of course, for those of the appropriate age, there is drinking of spirits, such as whiskey, or beers, like Guinness, as both have ties to Ireland and their history of distilling grains and hiding them from the British. The first St. Patrick's Day parade was held in New York City in 1762, long before the potato blight brought waves of Irish to our shores. The Irish soldiers fighting for the British during the lead-up to the Revolutionary War brought with them their traditions, including the observance of St. Patrick's Day. The parade held in 1762 was conducted as a way to help combat the homesickness of the Irish in the army. Today, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated by the wearing of the green, the drinking of the beer and whiskey, responsibly, of course, and the eating of the Irish foods. like corned beef and cabbage, colcannon, soda bread, and so many others. This holiday is a way to celebrate the resilience of the Irish people, as well as acknowledging their history and the struggles they faced when they first arrived here, hoping for a better future. Thank you for joining us here today, and I hope you enjoyed this mini episode, a quick little recap and story about the origins of St. Patrick's Day. Join us next month for another Reference Desk podcast.
Future episodes may feature a variety of topics, ranging from storytelling, arts and crafts, reader's advisory, reference questions, discussion, and more. We also encourage feedback through our Facebook page or in the comments section on the podcast. Visit us online at www.wicomico.libraries.org. Search for Wicomico Libraries on your favorite podcasting site. You can call us at 410-546-5397, or you can email us at center@wicomico.org. That is CENTRE @wicomico.org.